Hey, what's up, y'all? This is Lewis Speaks 2024, and today I want to talk to y'all about some reflections I've been having on gay life. You know, um, I realize that the life is just full of damaged, broken men who really have no interest in taking you seriously. They have no interest in loving you. They have no interest in caring for you in any real way. I'm thinking about my experiences in the life and how a lot of the men that I used to deal with, they were grieving and I didn't know it. They were in a state of perpetual grief. And what that looked like is basically this engagement and preoccupation with compulsion and compulsive behaviors, destructive behaviors, reckless behaviors. And it was just an ill concern with my life. You know? How can I expect them to care about my life and take care of my life if they couldn't even care about or take care of their own? You know, a lot of gay men out here are looking for a love story. They're looking for a partner. But what they're finding is that these men, they prize novelty over fidelity. They're looking for the next best thing. They're always searching and scrounging around for something new. And while on the surface, many gay men want to sit up here and say they're looking for a faithful, loving, loyal person. Half of them are not even that. They want something that they're not willing to give. So it's like they're just addicted to the fantasy. As gay men, we are sometimes too preoccupied with living this illusion and this fantasy as opposed to living in the truth of reality. And I personally, I'm through with it. You know, you bring men over to your home. You give them the best love they've ever known. You perform, you do it all. You do it all. Only for them to leave your home, block you immediately, delete you from every social media that they ever gave you, if they even gave you that. A lot of the dudes will give you excuses like, oh, I don't use social media like that, when they know that they are always on the gram, they're always on Facebook, but they'll tell you a story. They'll give you an alias, fake names. They won't show you their face. And if they do show you their face, it's an expiring photo on Grindr. It's just a disappearing photo on Jacked. It's like, how are you ever supposed to build a solid connection when you are building on a foundation of lies and deception and misrepresentation? There is so much misrepresentation within the gay community. It's ridiculous. So many gay men, in an effort to be loved and approved of, will sit up there and agree to terms that they do not really agree with. They'll agree to be some man's whore. They'll agree to be some man's cum dumpster when they know that they're looking for a genuine, solid relationship, but they'll just take the crumbs just to have some form of man in their life. It's exhausting. It's exhausting being a gay man in 2024. And so you see a lot of men out here, what they're doing now is, you know, they're just looking to women for a partnership and men for just sex. You know, they're looking to have, I guess, they treat the girlfriends like their wives, and they treat the men that they're having sex with like whores. So we're all just getting a very discounted experience when you think about it all around. You got the women out here, they're looking for partnership and they're not finding that. So what they're doing, they're going to the gay community trying to find some man who will treat them right. Okay, we don't have to have sex. You can go out there and go sleep around with men, but at least come home, you have a nest waiting for you. They'll feather your nest. It's just, It's just a hard time in life right now for everybody because nobody wants to treat you right. Everybody just wants to reenact their wounds. All they want to do is exercise their ghosts and their demons on people. They don't want to love people. And when you think about the spirit of this world, the spirit of this world is one that is very, very demonic, one that is very, very satanic. And you can see that and how the world is nowadays. You see it in the music, you see it in the media, the movies, you see it in every aspect of our humanity. Nobody wants to be good to anybody anymore. And that's not by accident. That's actually by design. And people they don't see the invisible influence. They don't see that invisible influence that's operating on all of us, that's operating on the spirit. That's why casual sex, man, it's just too much. You want to know why people are really grieving? Because they're grieving the loss of their innocence. They're grieving the loss of their good feelings about humanity. They're grieving the loss of so many people that could have been. So many lovers that could have been. If only they were decent human beings. If only they weren't so wrapped up in their own grief. It's just people are grieving, and you see that. I see that people don't care anymore. You got dudes out here throwing themselves away, allowing other men to treat them like a piece of used Kleenex, just tossed to the side. I've went to clubs in the past, with men who have allowed other men to use them in their rectum, right? Go in the bathroom, get used in their rectum. They leave, wipe their rectum out, bring another man in, wash, rinse, repeat. And why is that? Why? Because there's a spirit of recklessness. There's a spirit of grief. And this, I don't care anymore attitude. They don't care anymore about losing their lives because they've dealt with so many men who didn't value their lives. So what ended up happening is they don't value themselves. A lot of these men, their fathers never cared about them either. Their fathers never loved them. Their fathers never showed them how to protect themselves. They never learned the art of self-protection. And so what ends up happening is that these men go out here and they allow other men to put them in danger. And they call this love because their fathers put them in danger, either through their absence or through their emotional unavailability. That's what they're used to. Our boys are used to being placed in danger and not being protected. So they don't know how to protect or defend themselves. They may know how to fight, if that, but they just don't know how to protect their spirit. They don't know how to protect their emotions. They just don't have the tools or the skills to do that. We're literally out here as gay men fighting alone. And it's difficult, it's tough, and we're trying our best to navigate this world to the best of our ability, but it's hard out here. It's hard. And then you add to the mix a sea of broken men who just want to come into your life, wreak havoc, give you a diagnosis, and then dip. That's another grief. A lot of gay men, they're living with HIV/AIDS as a result of believing some man's lie, as a result of another man's grief. Now they have to pay with their lives because of another man's grief. Gay men out here testing positive for all kinds of STDs because once again, they're sitting here believing some man's lie and suffering the consequences of some other man's grief. This guy over here that you're messing with, he is grieving the loss of his own innocence of so many things. So that causes him to act recklessly, causes him to engage in compulsive and destructive behaviors. He doesn't tell you because, for one, he doesn't even admit it to himself. He doesn't have the insight and the awareness into how his behaviors impact his own life, so he don't mind putting your life at risk. That's the thing. He don't mind using your life to decorate his destruction. He don't mind that. And to feed his destructive tendencies. He don't mind because he don't care. Right now, these men don't care. So you're sitting up there trying your best to win him. Because a lot of men, especially gay men, they try to win love. They try to win his cum shot. They do it all for validation. Getting another man to come for you, that's a form of validation. It means that you're hot. It means that you're sexy. It means that you're desirable. It means that you're seductive. It means that you're alluring. You can get somebody else or someone else to lose control over you. So a lot of men, they live for the validation of another man's cum shot. So they're putting their bodies literally as a sacrifice, right? Just for a cheap hit of validation, like junkies. I need that validation. I need that validation. It's sad. It's sad. But when you go back, they never got that validation from their fathers. They never got that validation from their caretakers. They never got that support, that reassurance. And so they constantly are out here chasing. And the funny thing is, over time, right, even when they start to feel bad and start to really, really experience the sadness and despair, right, what ends up happening is that they end up going back for more and more. You want to know why? They chase pain. And this is what I had to realize too, and I've experienced this too. They chase pain to deal with pre-existing pain. They want a different pain to take away the pain of something else that's going on. They'll chase a different kind of pain just to alleviate that pre-existing pain that they have. Because a different kind of pain means I don't have to face this other pain, you know? So they'll chase different pains and misery just to avoid dealing with that initial pain. But the thing about it is, what ends up happening is that you have to go back to that pain. You have to go back and deal with that wound, or else that wound is going to continue to bleed out and be infected and cause disorders in your life. See, when we were younger, we didn't know we had a father wound. Like me, when I was younger, I didn't know about no father wound. What? Father wound? What is that? I didn't realize how that wound was left untreated. I didn't have the skill set to treat that wound at the time. So I didn't realize that that wound would eventually lead to a disorder. This disorder of searching out for the love and approval and the closeness of other men, and using sex as a conduit to get it. You didn't realize it. You don't realize it at the time. All you know is that you don't have a man in your life who cares about you. It makes you feel worthless. It makes you feel unloved. It makes you feel just empty. And so when you're empty, you will oftentimes clamor after the closest thing and clamor after something that will make you feel full. But the funny thing is, these things and these other men that you're clamoring after, in your act of desperation, in your act to try to get yourself full, what ends up happening is that they empty you full. They leave you full of empty. That's what they do. They leave you full of empty because they come into your life. They may fill you up for just, 5 minutes, 15 tops, and then you're back to that emptiness. So it's really just a series of empty victories, and that's what ends up happening. We as gay men, we get addicted to the empty victories. We get addicted to the chase. We chasing after these men, and then we win them. It's kind of like, I liken it to a slot machine, you know? We're sitting up here going on these apps, right? And the same way that you would pull a lever on a slot machine, that's what we're doing on our phones. We're scrolling. scrolling, swiping right, swiping left, scrolling. And we're hoping to win the jackpot of some man's affection. But what ends up happening, even when we think we've won something big, in reality, we have won nothing at all. We won nothing. This man has no investment in us. These men have no care and concern. They have no history with us. They have no past. They have no future. Nothing. So we end up with a handful of nothing. But in the moment, we don't think about that because we live for the moment. That's all we live for as gay men. We live for we're good at moments. We are good at moments. I got to tell you that. Gay men are good at moments. They are the king of moments. But after a while, you have a string of empty encounters, right? And you look back on your life. Where are my friends? Where is the partner that I wanted to love me? I'm looking back on all the moments, and there's nothing there. The moments have disappeared, just like the photo that these men tried to send you on these apps. The moments expire. When you think about when you're getting older, right? You're going to a nursing home, and all you have left are your memories. For gay men, a lot of those memories will be bitter memories. They'll be rocking back and forth just thinking about all the men who they've allowed to use them, you know? Empty memories. A gay man's photo album is full of empty pictures. It's a book of empty memories. Think about it. A gay man's photo album is a book of empty memories. And so it's just time to do things differently, because these men won't remember you. You won't be remembered. You'll be the last thing on their mind. They don't even remember you after seconds. Seconds after you hook up with them. They don't remember you. They just toss you aside like used trash, like a used Kleenex, like that sock you used to masturbate in your room with, like that t-shirt, that cum-stained, crispy t-shirt that you use to wipe off the semen off your chest and toss in the laundry over there somewhere. That's how they view you. That's how they view your body. They take your body, wipe themselves off, and toss you away. That's the reality. And some men find that to be an aphrodisiac. But when you realize after a while, when you're the one taking all the pills and you're the one going to the clinic appointments by yourself and you're the one sitting up there feeling so lonely and having nothing to show for your life except a bunch of bitter memories, you get tired of that destructive circle. You get tired of that merry-go-round of nothingness. Being used no longer holds the same appeal. It's no longer an aphrodisiac. But I think a lot of gay men also, we just don't know how to let ourselves be loved. That's the reality. We rather chase after men who don't want us, men who lead us on, men who hate us. Some of these men really hate men. They hate men. There's a sense of misandry in the gay community. And they don't love us. Baby, they don't love us. They're just using us. They're just using us to settle old scores. You know? I remember a time I hooked up with this dude and I looked on his Facebook and he said, quote, "I'm going to do to these men what my father did to my mother." Wake up call. But for me, it wasn't. I was still chasing, still chasing, still with this blind optimism. And looking back, I think we are the ones that we have to forgive in order to move forward. Because a lot of times we beat ourselves up for allowing ourselves to be used, for allowing ourselves to be played, for allowing ourselves to fall under some man's false spell. And we're the ones that we have to forgive the most. And when we do that self-forgiveness, then we can begin to forgive other people. But first we have to forgive ourselves. We have got to forgive ourselves. And so I realize that it's time to stop chasing after ghosts, time to stop chasing after these illusions. It's time to stop expecting these men to fill us up, because they're not going to. We are the ones responsible for our own fullness and wholeness. God above, he promises that he will never abandon us. In the book of Psalms, he says, I will never abandon you. These men, they'll just leave us high and dry. We've seen that. We've seen proof of that. We've seen evidence of that. But God above says, I will never abandon you. And so just having that loving nurturance, you know? Ecclesiastes, it says, God created us with eternity in our hearts. Eternity. He put forever in our hearts. He didn't put moments. He didn't put all these moments. He didn't do that. He put forever. I think of a scripture also where it says, the former things have passed away. And the thing about it is this, 5 years from now, everyone that you hooked up with, everyone that you once loved, will they be around? Or will they just be dust? So it's just time to do things differently. It's time to reconfigure how we're seeing these hookups. Is it fun? Initially, it starts off fun. It starts off, you feel relief, right? You feel relief. You're getting off, getting the stress off, right? You're getting off, so you feel relief. But ultimately, you start to feel empty. The end game is you begin to feel empty, because the thing about it is this, these men, they'll get you off. But will they feed you afterwards? Will they take you out on a date? Will they replenish you? There are so many men willing to empty you, right? To drain you, as they say. Drain you. But how many of those men want to replenish you? How many of those men want to fill you up? How many of those men want to take care and protect your spirit? How many of those men? None of them. I can answer that question. None of them. And the ones who may want to, they just don't have the tools or the skills necessary to protect your heart, because they're too busy putting their own heart in danger. They're too busy putting their own heart on the line, on the chopping block. They just don't know how to protect your heart, because they don't have the skills to protect their own. They don't know how to protect your heart because they don't know how to protect their own. And so if they don't know how to protect their own, what makes you think that your heart's going to stand a chance? So you got to protect your own heart. And so I hope this video was very helpful for those who are living in the gay community. This is by no means an attempt to demonize gay men, to attack them. This is no homophobic type of this. No, this does not justify any abuse or harm towards gay men. This right here is love. This is me trying to lift gay men up out of the cloud, because quite frankly, we're all trapped in this illusion. And so it's about time to be released from bondage to the illusion. It's time for us to wake up and see the truth. We got to, you know? So I hope this video was helpful. I hope this video lands on your heart safely. And I love you. I love you so much that I'm going to exhort you. I'm going to provide you with the truth because so many of us are lied to. And the lies do nothing but keep us trapped in this perpetual cycle of self-abuse. And we don't deserve that. So once again, I love you. And I hope that this message lands on your heart. Please, you could take something out of this. That's my sincerest hope. Peace, y'all.